how big is today with the Joe Rogan Donald Trump interview? I'll tell you how big it is. It's so big today that I got a text message from my mother saying, how do I watch the Donald Trump Joe Rogan interview? And this is interesting. She asked me about the Spotify and the iTunes. Now, I've had a podcast for several years. Never once has anyone in my family reached out and said, hey, how do I watch your podcast every day? But when it's Donald Trump on Joe Rogan, all of a sudden, people from all ages, from all ethnic groups, from all demographics, they're all interested to see probably, and this will probably be, I mean, I say it, but I don't, this will probably be the last biggest interview of this election season. I would imagine it's the last biggest interview of this election season, but you never know. You never know. I say that, and then all of a sudden, Jesus Christ will come down from heaven and interview Donald Trump before the election. Probably not, though. I don't think he does a lot of interviews. These days. Listen, there's a lot of big stuff going on, but I do want you to know that even though the New York Post has come out now and said the choice is clear to put the nation on the right path back to the future, Donald Trump is the one we need. Donald Trump is the future of America. He officially gets the endorsement of the New York Post. And while that's really exciting, while it seems like all the momentum is going Donald Trump's way, know this, he can still lose. Donald Trump can still lose this election, and I'm going to tell you in fact, I'm going to spend the entire show today outlining exactly how Donald Trump can lose this election. And I know what the polls say. I know what the national polls are saying. I know what the state polls are saying. I know what Polymarket's at. I'm on Polymarket probably more than anybody. In fact, let's go on Polymarket and see what the election forecast is, shall we? Right now on Polymarket, it says that Donald Trump's going to win the election. He's going to win every single swing state. Kamala Harris doesn't have a snowball's chance in HE double hockey sticks. But the fact of the matter is, Kamala Harris can still win and Donald Trump can still lose. And I'll tell you all about that here in just a second. It's, again, everybody's really excited. Everybody seems like things are just going Trump's way. Seems like America is going to be great again in just a handful of days. In fact, Tom Emmer, Majority Whip, was on the TV and he was talking about how Donald Trump's going to win this thing. It's a surefire bet that Donald Trump's going to be the next president, and we should all be excited.
Donald Trump is going to win this election, and he's going to win the election because the closing message has been the message all along. Kamala, you broke it. Donald Trump is going to fix it. Donald Trump has a positive message for the future, for Americans, on the issues they care about most: the economy, the border, crime, the crises all around the globe. Donald Trump is here to fix those. He's done it before. He's going to do it again. That's why he's going to win on November 5th in 11 days.
That's why Donald Trump's going to win on November 5th in 11 days. And Tom Emmer is sure he's excited about it, man. Donald Trump is going to fix it. Kamala broke it. Donald Trump is going to fix it. By the way, that's a line he picked up from Donald Trump at the rally at TPUSA.
She broke it, and I promise you I will fix it, and we'll fix it fast.
Yeah. Not only is he going to fix, he's going to fix it fast because like TikTok, we don't have a lot of time. Donald Trump, when and if he wins the election, is going to have 4 years to fix all of this horrible stuff that Kamala Harris has broken. And if he wins, which we all hope he does, it's going to be right to work. It's going to be the most effective 4-year time span in history. You're going to see more done in the first day and every day that Donald Trump is in office after November 5th. But, look, it's not just Tom Emmer. Even members of the Trump family are feeling very excited. Even members of the Trump family are feeling very positive and optimistic. And why shouldn't they? They've been working harder than anyone else. They've been eating and breathing and sleeping this, not just since 2015 when Donald Trump came down the escalator, not since 2016 when he won the White House, but they've been living it for the 4 years in between while they were being harassed and targeted and doxxed and censored and subpoenaed over and over and over again. Eric Trump, head of the Trump Organization right now, husband of Laura Trump, the co-chair of the RNC, and son of Donald Trump, is the most subpoenaed person, Donald Trump says, in history. He goes, I don't think anyone's gotten more subpoenas than my son Eric. And you know what he does? He shows up, he answers the questions, he goes home. He doesn't run from them like somebody's sons. Hunter Biden. Excuse me, I had something in my I had some in my throat. And Eric Trump was on with Maria Bartiromo, and he was discussing how excited his father is for the future.
Well, first of all, I'm proud of the guy. I mean, I'm not sure Maria, and I've been in this game for a long time. I'm not sure if I've ever seen him more locked in, having more fun. I mean, a lot of things really seem to be going his way right now, and I think everybody's, kind of feeling that. And, Kamala is certainly, I think, seeing that. But I was just with him in Georgia. I mean, we had 35,000 people. I mean, filled up an arena, the biggest crowd you could possibly imagine. I spoke at Butler. I mean, hundreds of thousands of people there. I couldn't see the end of the thing. But beyond that, the guy's just in great spirits. He's going out there. He's having a great time. And, frankly, he deserves it after kind of the hell that they've put him through over the last 10 years. But he's really doing great. He's really doing great. I mean, you're showing McDonald's right now on TV. What a great scene. McDonald's actually said it was the #1 infomercial that they've literally ever had, and they didn't have to pay $1 for it. So the guy's just locked in. He's having a lot of fun, and I'm proud to stand by his side.
Now, we all are. We're very excited for Donald Trump. We're very excited for all of the Trumps. But there's this optimism needs to be a cautious optimism because, as I pointed out before, Donald Trump can still lose the election. And I'm going to explain to you how here in just a minute. First, though, I would love it. I would absolutely love it if you would do me a solid and subscribe. There it is. If you haven't yet subscribed to this channel, whether on YouTube or Rumble or Facebook, wherever you happen to be, make sure that you hit the subscribe button, hit the notification button, because fun fact, the social media tyrants in Silicon Valley don't always let people know when my conservative brand of content is available. Isn't that crazy? Mark Kaye, that's crazy talk. Yeah, I know. So make sure that you hit the notifications too. And most importantly, share this with a friend, because sharing is caring. If you're listening to this message and you think it's solid and you think it's good for America and you think it's informative and exciting and entertaining and inviting and inspirational, share it with people that you love. And most importantly, share it with people you hate, because it's really going to tick them off. And there's nothing more fun than angering Democrats, especially this close to an election. But everybody's feeling it. Even Donald Trump himself, as his son Eric points out, is happy, is excited, is in good spirits. When he was at his rally dancing to YMCA, he, to his traditional Trump, the little Trump dance that he does, he actually added a new move, and they're calling it the golf swing. I'm gonna show it to you. There's gonna be no music because of copyright issues, but look at this. Listen, bum 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 bum. It's fun to stay at the bum. Here comes the golf swing. Ready? There it is. What? MCAA. Go, go, go. Hey, there it is. That's the new move. Not only he just added that. He's like, you know what? Not only am I so happy I'm going to dance to my favorite song, YMCA, but I'm going to throw in a little golf swing. Fun fact. When I was at Mar-a-Lago the other day in Palm Beach, West Palm Beach, Florida, we were there for the premiere of Line in the Sand. And if you missed yesterday's show, don't worry, I'm going to post the entire interview from the red carpet. It was fantastic. But Line in the Sand, the new James O'Keefe movie. We were there for the premiere, and we're standing outside the spa area, and we're standing outside by the pool, and there's music because, if you've ever been to a high-scale country club or maybe even a low-scale country club, they've always got music piped in. They've got speakers everywhere. Some of the speakers look like rocks, so they blend in. That's like the cool thing, to get the Bose rock speakers. So you're walking through the garden, and you hear music, and you go, where is that music coming from? And it's like a rock, but it's actually a speaker. Anyway, and they start playing. And I'm standing there and I'm setting up, and they're playing Lee Greenwood, God Bless the USA. And I go, OMG, I feel like I'm at a Donald Trump rally, but really I'm at a Donald Trump golf course. And then after Lee Greenwood, after that song wrapped up, they started playing YMCA. And I go, oh my gosh, they're playing Donald Trump's playlist from the rally. And then it was Toby Keith. And then the next, and I was like, oh, this is Donald Trump has created some kind of playlist for his rally. And not only that, but he pipes it through all of the speaker systems. He pipes it through all of his properties. He pipes it through the entire Mar-a-Lago property so that people can listen to it. And that people can listen to it and enjoy it. So that was a fun little inside fact about Mar-a-Lago. I wonder if he does it at Doral and the other clubs too. I'll have to ask one of the Trumps. But Donald Trump is excited. He's swinging the golf club. He's dancing. Eric Trump is saying we've been through hell and now we're finally coming out the other side. But they could still lose this thing. It's not over yet. There's one thing that could happen that could really push this over the edge. And celebrities look. Again, people see celebrities coming out of the woodwork and saying, vote for Donald Trump. They see musicians coming out of the woodwork and saying, vote for Donald Trump. They see people from Hollywood, the most liberal place in the entire world, coming out and saying, not only vote for Donald Trump, but Kamala Harris is an idiot. I don't know if you saw this clip of Mel Gibson, but Mel Gibson from, Braveheart, Lethal Weapon. He's been in like 1,000, What Women Want. He's been in all the movies. Mel Gibson was at the airport, I believe in Los Angeles, and TMZ caught up to him with their cameras, and they just started peppering him with questions about the election, who he was voting for, what he thought about the candidates, and Mel Gibson, being Mel Gibson, never shies away from the camera. Mel Gibson never doesn't answer a question. And he had some choice words to say about Kamala Harris.
Being voted on in days, what's your thoughts?
Oh, man, that's a big question.
Or Trump?
I don't think it's going to surprise anyone who I vote for.
Well, so, I'm gonna guess. Can we go in? Yeah. I'm gonna guess, Trump. Is that a bad guess?
I think it's a pretty good guess.
Oh, I think it's a pretty good guess. I mean, come on. Mel Gibson is not Ben Stiller. Mel Gibson is not Bravo Andy. Mel Gibson is not a white dude for Kamala. I mean, you can take one look at him and you know that given the choice, he's like, oh, there's no way I'm voting for Kamala. And that's exactly, listen, there's more, listen.
What do you think the world will be like in a second term with President Trump's second term? A lot of people
I know what it'll be like if we let her in.
Yeah. Oh, really?
And that ain't good.
Yeah. Well,
miserable track record, appalling track record, no policies to speak of.
Yeah, and the border, right?
And she's got the IQ of a fence post.
She's got the IQ of a fence post. Mel Gibson, Hollywood actor extraordinaire. She's got the IQ of a fence post. It's no surprise why I voted for Donald Trump. Duh. You know what the world would be like under Kamala Harris? She's got no agenda, no track record, and oh yeah, she has the IQ of a fence post. Now, I didn't just want to take Mel Gibson's word for it, so I did some due diligence. I decided to fact check this post, at this point, rather, and I went out to see if Kamala Harris does indeed have the IQ of a fence post. Here's what we found out. Listen to what Mel Gibson just said about Kamala Harris.
She's got the IQ of a fence post.
Let's fact check that. Can you point to something in your life that you think was a mistake that you've learned from?
I mean, I've made many mistakes, and they range from, if you've ever parented a child, you make lots of mistakes.
Yeah, so there you go. It checks out. Kamala Harris. The fence post may actually be smarter. I'm going to be honest with you. I think the fence post has a better chance of becoming president of the United States than Kamala Harris does. But she's still got a chance. And that's the scary thing. Kamala Harris still has a chance to win the election. And they're doing this last minute thing, which is really appalling. They're doing this last minute push, which is really exciting, which is really appalling and really kind of disgusting. And what they've done is, I don't know whose idea it was. I don't know if it was Obama's. I don't know if it was Susan Rice's idea. I can't imagine it was Kamala Harris's because I don't think she has any ideas of her own. But somebody decided that the only thing that they haven't tried, or the only thing that they're going to try, or the one thing they're going to try, is to bring back the Donald Trump is Hitler comparison, and Donald Trump is a tyrant, and that Donald Trump is going to rule like it's the Third Reich here in the United States of America. And that has been something that is baffling to people, but it's their last ditch effort. And it's splitting people even further apart. The folks, like you go to your family reunion, whatever, and there's the people you can't talk to because they know you voted for Trump and they hate everything Trump, including you, or your friends that never contact you anymore, or have unfollowed you from Facebook. I mean, we've all got those. JD Vance was talking to Chris Cuomo, and I know what you're thinking. Why is JD Vance? Why is he talking to Chris Cuomo? That's his thing. JD Vance will go anywhere and talk to anybody. And Chris Cuomo is more and more open-minded by the day, probably because they saw what his own party did to his own brother, probably because CNN stabbed him in the back, just like they did Kamala Harris the other day at her town hall. So Chris Cuomo, very open-minded, JD Vance, very well-spoken. The two of them were having a conversation, and JD Vance said something that I think is very important and shows when we're talking about joy, when we're talking about, open-mindedness, when we're talking about bridging the gap and bringing people together, it's clearly, I think one side clearly has the advantage.
To me, the biggest threat to democracy is the rising tide of censorship. The idea that we should be trying to silence our fellow Americans rather than persuade them and talk to them. That's always going to lead to people being pissed off because they don't like to be told what to think or what to say. They like to talk to one another. And that's one thing that I'll always commit to. As you know, you're vice president for the next 4 years. I'll always try to talk to people. We'll go out there and we'll do events with people who disagree with us. We'll answer questions from people who don't always see eye to eye. But I think if we set the tone at the top, the leadership of this country is all about communicating with one another. I think that's how we start to heal the divide, but we all have a role in it. And one final point I'll say about this, and, don't get too personal all the time, but, one of the things I've seen, especially from, some of my wife's friends and some of my friends, is that they disagree with us on politics sometimes. They'll get very personal about it. And if you're discarding a lifelong friendship because somebody votes for the other team, then you've made a terrible, terrible mistake and you should do something different. Like, don't cast aside. Like, most of my family obviously is going to vote for, Donald Trump and JD Vance. And if they're not, actually, I need to talk to them. But I've got friends who like me personally, acquaintances who aren't necessarily going to vote for me. That doesn't make them bad people. And we can't, this is my most important advice, whether you vote for me, whether you vote for Donald Trump, whether you vote for Kamala Harris, don't cast aside family members and lifelong friendships. Politics is not worth it. And I think if we follow that principle, we'll heal the divide in this country.
Now,
thank you.
Yeah, thank you. By the way, how great is JD Vance? How great is JD Vance? How great was that pick? And again, there were a lot of doubting Thomases out there when JD Vance's name came up and they started calling him weird. And Tim Walz started making those weird couch accusations, which again, I believe is the pot calling the kettle black. When they started talking about the crazy cat ladies, when everyone was like, JD Vance, no, the hillbilly elegy guy, why didn't they pick somebody else? Well, man, how the turntables, as Michael Scott would say. JD Vance is the most vice presidential candidate we've had in decades. He's way more vice presidential than Al Gore. He's way more vice presidential than Dick Cheney. He's way more vice presidential than Kamala Harris. Joe Biden. I mean, come on. The guy, you look at him, he's stoic, he's smart, he's intelligent, he knows policy, he's kind. He's like an average guy, but he's also somebody that you really trust with the second most important job in the world. And it was a great choice. And he's proving that every single day. And I think a lot of people are saying, you know what? I may not like Donald Trump, but I like JD Vance. So I'm going to go ahead and support that side of the ticket because the guy makes a lot of sense. And he's the future of the party. We have a lot of people like that. The Republican Party is jam-packed with smart, intelligent, courageous, well-spoken, young people who really are the future of the United States of America. And the Democrats got nobody. If you look at the Democrat bench, they've got Tim Walz. That's horrible. Who else do they have? AOC? I don't even know who's coming up the pike. We've got Vivek Ramaswamy. We've got Byron Donalds. We've got, all kinds of people. We've got JD Vance, of course. We've got Anna Paulina Luna. We've got so many of these young conservatives that are just starting out, that are skilled, that can come. Even when you look at somebody like Tulsi Gabbard, we've got these fantastic men and women from everywhere, from every state, that are solid politicians, great Americans, intelligent, commonsensical, and likable. Oh, for example, in Arizona, we have Carrie Lake, who's running for Senate. And she's so likable that even Bill Clinton is publicly admitting that he's hot for her. Listen to this. This is Bill Clinton campaigning for Kamala Harris and talking about how hot Carrie Lake is.
I thought, this is like a beautiful microcosm of the campaign that Kamala Harris is running for president. You got a person that grew up under sometimes challenging circumstances, who made something of his life running against someone who is physically attractive, but believes that politics is a performance art.
So he's talking about Ruben Gallego and Carrie Lake, and he goes, Ruben Gallegos, this guy like came up from a hard life, whatever, and he's running against somebody, and he's like, Carrie Lake, what do I know about Carrie Lake? Well, she's physically attractive. That is the most Bill Clinton thing to do. When you're talking about a politician, a female politician, the most Bill Clinton thing to do is pinpoint her physical attractiveness above all else. Not, she was an election denier. How many times have we heard that? Carrie Lake's an election denier. She's a MAGA conservative. She's a crazy right winger. I mean, these are all things we've heard to describe Carrie Lake in the past. But Bill Clinton goes, he's running against a physically attractive woman whose politics may not be in line with ours. Carrie Lake, by the way, she had the best response. She always does, because, you know, for her, it's a performance art. But she had the best response to Bill Clinton. Listen to this.
And Bill Clinton, he paid me a compliment. He said I was physically attractive. I woke up to this news this morning. First of all, you know what? As a middle-aged woman, I'm flattered. I'm flattered, okay? I don't get those kind of compliments every day. Two, I thought I was a little too old for him. Doesn't he like interns?
I mean, how great. That's exactly the joke I was thinking of. Carrie Lake beat me to the punchline. But wait, she wasn't even done. She's like, oh, I got a ton of them.
Three, I'm happily married to my husband, Jeff, who's right down here. The love of my life. And four, nobody in their right mind wants to cross Hillary Clinton. It's just dangerous.
She doesn't want to be Clinton in either sense of the word in this particular case. And by the way, speaking of Hillary Clinton, you know, it's really interesting. I don't know if the Clintons still have the oomph that the Democrat Party believes they have. I wholeheartedly believe that in 2028, Donald Trump can go out and campaign for any Republican that gets the nomination. If J.D. Vance gets the nomination in 2028, Donald Trump can go out there and make him the next president of the United States. He can rally individuals from any corner of the globe, bring them together. He can make a case for anybody. If it's Ron DeSantis, I guarantee they would bury the hatchet and Donald Trump could come in and make him the king. Donald Trump will be the ultimate kingmaker for a very long time. The Clintons, I think they're done. Bill Clinton's going off the rail. He's going off the script, and he's talking about how hot Carrie Lake is, which doesn't do anything, I'm sure, for Ruben Gallego or Kamala Harris. And then you got Hillary Clinton out there, who is leading the charge of the leading the Donald Trump is the new Hitler charge. That's her thing. She's going out there now, and she is the fear mongerer. And she's digging through the vault, and she's trying to come up with new and exciting ways to compare Donald Trump to Adolf Hitler. That's all they've got left. And Hillary Clinton, she said something about this upcoming rally at Madison Square Garden, because look, Donald Trump's not done campaigning. He's going every single day. Kamala Harris, she likes to take days off. Donald Trump does not. He's going every single day. He's out today. He's out tomorrow. On October 27th, which is Sunday, he will be doing a live rally in New York City, the belly of the beast, the big Blue Apple, I like to call it. And he's going to go right into MSG. He's going to pack the joint. It's going to look like a Billy Joel concert in there. And Donald Trump's going to have all these MAGA faithful, and they're going to be chanting USA, USA, and 4 more years, and probably they'll throw in some locker-ups in there just for old time's sake. And Hillary Clinton wants you to know this is not a political rally for the leading political candidate. This is not a Donald Trump rally just a week and 2 days before the biggest election of our time. This is not just a bunch of patriotic Americans, liberty-loving, freedom-defending patriots, just like you and me, getting together in a major venue in a huge city, in a very important state, to say, this is the guy we want for president. No, this is a reenactment of a Nazi rally.
One other thing that you'll see next week, Caitlin, is Trump actually reenacting the Madison Square Garden rally in 1939. I write about this in my book. President Franklin Roosevelt was appalled that neo-Nazis, fascists in America were lining up to essentially pledge their support for the kind of government that they were seeing in Germany. So I don't think we can ignore it.
I don't think
another thing that you'll see next week.
Pardon
Caitlin.
me. We don't need to hear we don't need to hear her voice again. I don't think you can ignore it. Couple things about that clip. First of all, while Hillary Clinton was comparing Donald Trump's rally at MSG to the 1939 Nazi rally at MSG, she also got a plug in there for her book. Did you notice that? She's like, I write about this in my book, if you'd like to check it out. It's available on Amazon.com. But this is the rally she's talking about. This is in 1939. This was at the height of the Nazi rise of the Third Reich in Germany during World War II. And this is, I guess, neo-Nazis that came in and they rallied. And look, I'm not saying anything about this. I wasn't there. I don't know anything about it. But there's a lot of empty seats. And I'm pretty sure look at that. The Donald Trump, there's going to be no empty seats at Donald Trump's rally. There'll be none. Not a single one of these seats will be empty at the Donald Trump rally. So that's one reason it's not at all like this. Also, I was looking at this and I zoomed in, and I'm going to be honest with you. I think I can see, look, I think that's Hillary Clinton right there. I think you can actually, if you zoom in, you could actually see her there. So, but anyway, I digress. Hillary Clinton wants you to know that Donald Trump is not having a political rally for Republicans at Madison Square Garden. He's reenacting that. In fact, I think that's the actual, I'm pretty sure that was the actual word she used. Let me play it one more time.
Another thing that you'll see next week, Caitlin, is Trump actually reenacting the Madison Square Garden rally in 1939. I write about this in my book.
Yeah, she writes about it in her book. So that he's reenacting it. You know, like they reenact Civil War battles. Or Revolutionary War battles. If you go to Cowpens or Kings Mountain, you can watch the Union and the Confederacy go at it every weekend at 3 p.m. And there's also like a 5 o'clock late show. That's what she's trying to tell everybody. This isn't just a rally. This is a reenactment of one of the darkest days in American history. Now, the interesting thing about all of this, and Kamala Harris did it too, she called Donald Trump a fascist. Anderson Cooper later, I said, hey, do you want to call Donald Trump a fascist, by the way? And she was all like, yeah, I got time. So she called Donald Trump a fascist on CNN. Then it was all downhill from there. You thought that was the low point of the CNN interview. It was not. It got a lot worse. And now Hillary Clinton's out there saying he's a Nazi, he's Hitler, and he's reenacting one of the worst moments in American history with the Hitler-Nazi rally at MSG. That's what's happening this Saturday. Get your tickets at donaldjtrump.com. Kidding. They're all sold out. But this is having, by the way, a negative effect on Democrat and independent voters. Independent voters don't like it when you compare political candidates to Adolf Hitler. And we know that because I believe it was Mark Halperin had kind of like a round table discussion on Zoom. And he was talking to a bunch of undecided voters, I believe, from Pennsylvania. And listen to what one of them said.
I can't. I think part of the reason why I'm being pushed towards Trump so strongly is that I find that the Democrats and the left just keep going straight to Hitler all of the time with everything. Like it, and if it's not the left pushing Hitler, it's the right pushing Stalin. So it's like we're fighting World War II every single day for every single election. So it's so exhausting. I think it just it pushes me away from their position, and it's so hyperbolic that it makes it impossible to have good discussions, and I think it ruins the discourse.
Does anybody think it's valuable or something you want to hear from the vice president? Anybody? Raise your hand if you think this is something that's important for her to be talking about. Anybody?
No, not a person. No, not one person. Not one person thinks it's constructive or helpful or appropriate for Hillary Clinton and Kamala Harris and the rest of them to be comparing Donald Trump to Hitler. You know who else doesn't like it? Holocaust survivors, of which there are still many. The relatives of Holocaust Jewish people, Jewish voters in the United States of America are not thrilled about Kamala Harris and the Democrats saying Donald Trump is Hitler. And this video was released. Listen to this. This is a guy who is a Holocaust survivor. This was on Twitter.
My name is Jerry Wartsky. I'm 94 years old and survivor of Auschwitz and the Death Marches. Adolf Hitler invaded Poland when I was 9 years old. He murdered my parents and most of our family. I know more about Hitler than Kamala will ever know in 1,000 lifetimes. For her to accuse President Trump of being like Hitler is the worst thing I've ever heard in my 75 years living in the United States. I know President Trump, and he would never say this, and Kamala Harris knows this. She owes my parents and everybody else who was murdered by Hitler an apology for repeating this lie.
Why should the Jewish people support President Trump?
Oh, by the way, listen, the question was, if you're having trouble hearing it, why should the Jewish people support President Trump? Which, by the way, is something I ask I always ask that question too. I'm like, why don't more Jewish people support President Trump? Listen.
Because he's a mensch. I believe that President Trump is definitely going to be good for Israel, because in everything that he's done up to now was in favor. He never double-crossed anyone, and he never showed any weakness. Watching President Trump pray for the hostages at the Ohel and getting to spend time with him so meaningful. He has always stood with the Jewish people and the state of Israel.
I mean, the comparison, and again, maybe it's just that people don't know, maybe they don't pay attention to the news, and they probably don't, but comparing Donald Trump to Hitler, who slaughtered Jewish people. I mean, Donald Trump, Israel has not seen a president that has been so linked and helpful and friendly to their cause in decades. I mean, Donald Trump was the only president after years. I mean, so many presidents talked about moving. Oh, you know what we're going to do? We're going to move the embassy to Jerusalem. And every single president had a chief of staff or an advisor or somebody pop up and in their ear and go, no, you can't do that. And they go, why not? And they go, because if you move the embassy to Jerusalem, it's going to annoy all the Arabs in the Arab states. So we've got to keep the embassy out of Jerusalem. And Donald Trump came in and he said, you know what? Forget that. Jerusalem's the capital of Israel. That's where we're going to put our embassy. And the Jewish people were ecstatic. They were thrilled. They named a park after they put a little park in front of the embassy. Kid you not. They put a statue of Donald Trump there and they called it like Trump Park. I don't even know. I think it's called Trump Park. It's something you know the thing. And that is something that no other president has done. So for these two-bit, washed-up, ridiculous, corrupt politicians to roll in and try to compare Donald Trump to Hitler is, as this guy pointed out, insulting. It is the wrong thing. It's disgusting, and it's pushing voters away. And despite all of that, there is still actually a way that Donald Trump could lose this election, and I'll tell you all about that here in just 1 second. First, though, I would like to remind you that since Election Day is just, 11 days away, we are having a big party. We're having a big party. It's an Election Day party. Let me go over here and get the details for you. It's Mark Kaye's Election Night Watch Party, and it's at Sneakers, which is a huge sports bar and grill in Jacksonville Beach, Florida. It starts at 7 p.m., and we're going to go at least until 11. But if we need to go later, we have the permission of Sneakers in the city of Jacksonville Beach to go till at least 2 a.m. I don't foresee us going that late because, as we already know, not a lot of the returns are going to be in from, say, for example, Maricopa County, Arizona, or from Georgia or Michigan or Pennsylvania. They've already warned us, hey, you guys should go to bed early, but we're going to party down. We got 154 people that have already said, yes, we're going to be there. And we've got all sorts of great stuff planned. There's going to be a live broadcast. I'll be doing Mark Kaye Saves the Republic live for the entire time. So you can come and watch us. You can be part of the show. There's VIP tables. We're going to have some giveaways. There's hot bites and Tito's vodka specials All very exciting stuff. And of course, you get the camaraderie. You get to hang out with a bunch of like-minded, liberty-loving, freedom-defending patriots from all over. If you can't make it in person, please go to our page and at least let us know that you're going to come in spirit, because we're going to be broadcasting live on Facebook, on Rumble, on YouTube, on X, wherever they'll have us. That's where we're going to be. Mark Kaye's Election Night Party, Tuesday, November 5th, 2024 at 7 p.m. So like I said, just take a minute, swing by and let us know that that's something that you're into, and let us know that you're going to be there and you're excited about it, because we're really excited. We're really excited to host that for you. Also, one more real quick thing. I don't know if you know about this, but I have for a while now been investigating the benefits of testosterone. And people always laugh and they go, of course, Mark, you're getting old. It's my birthday tomorrow. I'm turning 50. Everyone's like, yeah, of course you're worried about your testosterone. I'm not worried about it, but I saw this great video the other day from the folks at V-Shred, and they explained there's one food which shocked me, because you always hear about this food, and this is the one food they always tell you, you know, you should eat this food, and then you eat it, and it turns out it's destroying your testosterone levels. Most guys think it's being drained by aging or bad genetics, but that's not true. It's the food you're eating that's killing your testosterone, draining your energy, wrecking your focus and your sex drive. And the crazy part is they advertise it as healthy. And in this video I was watching, which you can watch as well, you can see the one food and how changing your diet can change your testosterone levels, which changes everything. Your weight loss, the way you build muscle. It helps you sleep better. It helps you have more energy when you're awake. It helps your sex drive. It helps your focus. Testosterone as a male is everything that you need, and you need to know not just how to get more testosterone, but how to avoid foods that destroy the level of testosterone in your body. SculptNation.com/MK is the website address. It's up there on the screen. SculptNation.com/MK is the address if you want to go and take a look at this video. It's really informative. It's from the folks at V-Shred. You know they know what's up. SculptNation.com/MK. And fun fact, I put a link to that video on the YouTube and the Rumble description. So if you're watching on YouTube or Rumble, you can click on that link and you can go watch that video for yourself at your leisure. SculptNation.com/MK. All right, let's get back to Donald Trump in this election, and let's get back to why Donald Trump will lose this election. Look, CBS is out there, and CBS is trying to tell you that Donald Trump is a horrible person. They're doing it subliminally. They do it. Norah O'Donnell every morning or every evening when she starts her newscast, she always has this really biased, left-leaning introduction, and she talks about Kamala Harris's campaign as if it's rainbows and unicorns, and then she talks about Donald Trump's campaign as if it's, well, the 1939 Nazi rally at MSG.
We are now 12 days out from Election Day, and more than 30 million votes have already been cast, either in person or through the mail. As Vice President Kamala Harris prepares her closing arguments to the American people, she's getting a major dose of star support from Bruce Springsteen in Atlanta tonight and Beyonce in Houston tomorrow. Tonight is also the first time in her campaign that Harris is sharing the stage with former President Barack Obama, who remains a rock star of the Democratic Party. Both Harris and Obama are driving home their message that a second term of Donald Trump in the Oval Office would amount to 4 years of bitter revenge from the former president. Trump talking about revenge today, suggesting that within seconds of winning the White House, he'd fire the special counsel overseeing 2 investigations into him.
Did you catch that? Let me recap for you. Kamala Harris's campaign is kicking off a star-studded tour. Bruce Springsteen, Beyonce, Barack Obama, a rock star of the Democrat Party. I mean, it's like they're announcing the Grammy Awards, you know? And then what do they do when they talk about Donald Trump? Meanwhile, what's Donald Trump talking about? Revenge. Revenge. Kamala Harris is trying to have a fantastic, joyous musical experience with her buddies Springsteen, Beyonce, and Barack Obama, the rock star of the Democrat Party. Meanwhile, Donald Trump is hitting the road to talk about revenge. I don't think he's talking about revenge. You know, he's talking about fixing America. If that's what you think revenge is, if fixing what you broke is revenge, then sure, he's talking about that.
She broke it, and I promise you I will fix it, and we'll fix it fast. With your support on November 5th, America will be bigger, better, bolder, richer, safer, and stronger than ever before.
And that, the key word there is with your support, with your help. with your support, with your help. That's how we're going to win. That's how it's going to happen. That's how we're going to overcome these negative messages. Donald Trump is on track. Donald Trump is destroying every single poll. Donald Trump is almost tied with Kamala Harris in New Hampshire, a state, by the way, I predicted he would win months ago. Months ago when Donald Trump went to New Hampshire and Kamala Harris went to New Hampshire and Kamala Harris had to bring in 12 busloads of supporters from Massachusetts, I said New Hampshire's in play. And in a race this tight, when only a handful of electoral votes will make the difference, Donald Trump winning New Hampshire could make the difference. In a race like this where, we're not going to know what happens in Georgia, we're not going to know what happens in Pennsylvania on election night, flipping other states that know how to count ballots and get all of their results in on time, that could be the make it or break it. And if you flip New Hampshire, that's 4 votes you didn't have before. All you need is a handful more. Virginia's up for grabs. Minnesota's up for grabs, because who in Minnesota wants to vote for Tim Walz? Tim Walz is probably the worst choice any political candidate has ever made in their entire life. Tim Walz is here he is yesterday talking to dudes, which from what I hear, he loves talking to dudes.
Let me just for a minute talk to all the men that are here, and I'm glad that you're here on this. Look, Kamala doesn't talk about it, but it is damn past time we just quit talking about the cracks in the glass ceiling and tear the damn thing down and have Madam President. Tear it down.
I have a question. Is anybody talking about the cracks in the glass ceiling? Is anybody going, you know what? We need to have a female president. They're going back to identity politics. They're going back to, you know what? Donald Trump's Hitler and Kamala Harris is a woman. And we've never had a woman president. We've never had a woman president. Isn't it about time? Worst way, by the way, to vote. The single worst way to vote. The worst thing you can do is go in and vote for somebody because she is a woman, she is black, or tells people she is an Indian, she is from California, she is joyful. None of these things. She loves it. The reason you vote for somebody for president is not that. Unfortunately, there are a lot of people out there that are going to vote for her for that reason. They're going to vote for Kamala Harris because they think it's time for a woman. Doesn't matter that the woman has an IQ of a fence post, according to Mel Gibson. Doesn't matter that the woman can't come up with a single policy issue. Doesn't matter that the woman thinks that the problem with the economy right now is price gouging. Doesn't matter that the woman who's been the border czar for 3.5 years has no plan to fix the border, is now touting the benefits of a border wall that she once called, what was it? An archaic or a medieval ego project? Vanity project, pardon me. These are the things that Kamala Harris believes. She has no plan, she has no experience, she has no backbone, and she has no business being anywhere near the Oval Office. Yet, unfortunately, there are people out there who will vote for Kamala Harris because it's time to tear the glass ceiling down. It's just about time we had a woman president. It's baffling to me, but it's happening. I early voted today because early voting is a thing. And a couple of things popped. As soon as I early voted, I posted online that I early voted, and I got a couple of things. I got one guy that wrote in immediately and said, I'm not early voting. I don't trust it. Early voting is just a way for them to steal your vote. And we've gone over and over why early voting is not just necessary, but a must this time around. We talked yesterday about how early voting saves the Republican Party money. We talked with Laura Trump, the co-chair of the RNC, and she said early voting is important because it gives us the ability to focus on low propensity voters. Elizabeth Pipko reiterated that the other day when we spoke with her. She's an RNC spokeswoman who's going around the country on the RNC's dime to urge people to go and vote early. Donald Trump is not only telling you to vote early, he himself is going to vote early in the state of Florida. The benefits of voting early are many. The cons are few. If you wait until the last day to cast your vote, you're waiting till the very last day to cast your vote. And what happens if you get sick or you get into a car accident? What happens if the polling location runs out of ballots? What happens if the electricity goes out because of a water main break? What happens if it snows? There's 1,000 things that could go wrong. If you leave yourself one day to get something done, you are risking your one chance to change this country for the better and save the republic. You can't wait until the last minute. I liken it to concert tickets. If you're going to go buy concert tickets, nobody waits till the last minute. Nobody says, you know what? I'm going to buy tickets on the last day they're available. You wake up, you go to Ticketmaster, you sit in the queue for 30 minutes, and you wait until the website opens up, and you hope to God that it doesn't crash before you get your tickets for the Eras tour. I'm kidding. Nobody's going to the Eras. It's over. Before you get your tickets for, an Alan Jackson's farewell tour. There, that's better. That's the thing you want to do. You don't want to leave it to the last minute, because if you leave it to the last minute, you could miss out. And if you miss out in an election this close, that's bad news. Because there are people out there who are early voting. And the reason they're early voting is because they just think it's time for a woman to be president. There are people out there who are early voting. And the reason they're early voting is because, they just don't like Donald Trump because he's Hitler-ish, according to Hillary Clinton and Kamala Harris. They just think Donald Trump's bad and racist and misogynist and a xenophobe and all these things that he's not, but that the left has portrayed that he is. And it is, you and I know better. You and I, you listen to this show every day. I produce this show every day. You're watching the same things I'm watching. We're all going to listen to the Joe Rogan podcast later today when it comes out, which apparently I need to text my mother as soon as, I think it's like 2:00 is when it drops. We're not 100% sure. It's going to be the biggest. Listen, I know that my downloads will be down. I've already expected or come to grips with the fact that my downloads will be down today because Joe Rogan is dropping the podcast of the century. I get it. I'm not bitter. It's fine. I'm going off where my wife and I are going to go off and celebrate my birthday early. So that's going to happen later on today. And there are people that know all of that and pay attention to it. There are people that watched Kamala Harris's CNN town hall. There's people that know how their representatives and senators are voting. Most people are not like that. Most people are not as smart as you and I. Most people are not as enlightened as you and I. Most people are not as caring or informed as you and I. Most people just turn on the TV or go on social media and they see that Donald Trump's Hitler and that Kamala's a woman. And it's about time that we have a woman president. So the way Donald Trump is going to lose is if people refuse to early vote, because early voting is a way for them to steal the election. They don't, I'm sorry. There's the last time when we all waited for election day, it didn't work out the way we thought it was going to work out. So what have you got to lose? Voting on election day may not be the best way to win an election, as we all learned in 2020. So let's try something different. Let's try what Donald Trump is suggesting. Let's try what the RNC is suggesting. Let's try something that we already know is working, because think about this. If you early vote, not only are you guaranteeing yourself multiple opportunities to vote. For example, when I woke up at 7 a.m. today and I got in the car and I drove to the library to go vote, if the library were closed, or if somebody forgot to show up, or if there were a fire, God forbid, or if I woke up vomiting or diarrhea, I didn't want to, talk about that. But if that happened, I'm like, okay, I'm not going to early vote today. I'll go on Monday. And if on Monday I walked out and there was a flat tire and I had to go change my, get my tires fixed, okay, fine. I can go Tuesday. There's multiple opportunities for me to vote. If I waited till election day and I woke up with a flat tire and diarrhea and the polling place was on fire, it's going to be really difficult for me to vote that day. That's the first reason. The second reason you want to vote is because what we're seeing with these polls, and these polls are just ridiculous. These polls that we're seeing are crazy. The early voting for Republicans in states where Republicans never early vote is outpacing the Democrats 2-1 in some cases. Here in Florida, Republicans are outpacing Democrats 2-1 in the early vote. You're starting to see some traction in Pennsylvania. You're starting to see traction all across the board. It is a new day for early voting for the Republican Party. And what that does is that inspires other people. Do you remember back in 2020 when Fox News called the state of Arizona before the polls even closed? They looked at the polling and they go, well, the polls say this, and we know there's all these early voting ballots, and we know that the early ballots favor the Democrats. So Fox News, responsible journalists that they are, decided to call the state of Arizona before the people were waiting in line to vote. People were driving on over to the polls in Maricopa County to cast their ballot for Donald Trump. And they heard Fox News calls Arizona for Joe Biden. So they were like, oh, screw it. I'm going home. Not going to waste my time standing in line voting for somebody who's already lost the state. It was irresponsible. It was reprehensible, but it happened. It's going to be very difficult to do that again now that we see the early voting numbers of Republicans coming out of these states in Arizona. There's no one's going to call the state now for the Democrats, not with all these Republican voters. And the other thing that you can do is if you haven't yet voted, you can go on there and you can inspire others to get off their butts and go vote. Look at all these Republicans that are early voting. Wow, they must know something about Donald Trump. I'm going to go out and vote as well. And then there's the low propensity voters. And the low propensity voters, these are the people that are out there and they're registered. They voted in the past. Maybe they voted in the primary. They may or may not vote this time around. We're not really sure. They may forget. These are the people that the RNC wants to focus on. These are the people that they want on election day to focus on. They've got money, they've got assets, they've got volunteers, and they've got to get these low propensity people to the polls because they will be the difference. They will be the slim margin that puts us over in places like Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Michigan, New Hampshire, Virginia, Minnesota. All of the states, Nevada, these are the places we must win, and we need every vote. And if you're if you're a high propensity voter, if you're excited to vote, if you're like, Trump, yeah, Kamala, boo, let's get her out of office, let's get him in office, then go vote now. And let the RNC focus on the people that maybe aren't as excited and as informed and as enlightened and as intelligent as you and I are. That's why I early voted today. And if you've early voted, and if you haven't early voted, sorry, but hopefully we've inspired you now to vote early. There you go. Kamala Harris, by the way, she's seeing what's happening too. She's seeing the numbers. She's seeing the turnout. She's seeing the light at the end of the tunnel start to diminish, and she's getting dark.
Should never again stand behind the seal of the President of the United States of America. Never again. Never again.
I'm going to be honest. Listen, I'm going to be honest with you. Let me pause here. When we're talking about tyrannical dictators a la Adolf Hitler, who looks more like Adolf Hitler? This is Kamala Harris at a rally, I believe, yesterday.
Should never again stand behind the seal of the President of the United States of America. Never again. Never again.
I mean, that's ruthless dictator 101 right there. This is Donald Trump. This was Donald Trump yesterday. Tell me which one is more Hitlerish. Da ba 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 da 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 ba da ba ba da 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 da. Here comes the golf swing. Yeah, and the crowd goes wild. I mean, did Hitler ever dance to the Village People and pretend that he was swinging a golf club on stage? I don't know. We'd have to ask Hillary Clinton. Maybe she has it in her book. Listen, we've got a very special guest I'm very excited about too. And we're going to bring him on. I think he's ready to go. Yeah, he's ready to go. I am so excited to have back a young man we met at the RNC in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. He's the RNC Youth Advisory Chair. And he's an author, and he's like everywhere. You can't go on the internet without seeing him. Please welcome back to Mark Kaye Saves the Republic, Brylan Hollyhan. Brylan, how you doing?
Mark, happy Friday. Thanks for having me back. We're 11 days out, and I thought it was so important to talk to you and your audience again, and so I'm so excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
Oh, man, we are so excited. Now, you've been very busy. You, of course, wrote this book, One Generation Away, Why Now is the Time to Restore American Freedom. And when did you write that? How old were you when you wrote that?
I was 17. I wrote it last year. It came out this summer and hit #2 on the Amazon bestsellers list, one of the youngest authors to make it on the Amazon bestsellers list. So it's a testament. The American dream is very much alive and well, Mark.
And that was, after that book became so successful, you walked into the RNC and said, give me a job. And they were like, okay.
It didn't go exactly like that, but pretty close. That's a good summary of it. And basically, I was just frustrated. I write in the book about my frustrations and how I'm encouraging my peers to, that are frustrated, not to just dye their hair blue and grab a bullhorn, but to actually go do something effective to change the country with that frustration. Instead of studying on a college campus, I wanted to actually do something effective. And so I courted the RNC and I said, listen, we've got a problem with the youth vote. The DNC has used social media as a weapon to attack us and as a tool to engage voters. And we're doing absolutely nothing on the youth front. Bring us to the table, and not just the kiddie table. I've been to enough, Thanksgiving and dinners to understand Christmas dinners to understand what they do.
Yeah.
With the kids table, bring us an actual seat at the table. Because of that, we've got the RNC Youth Council, and we're now winning the youth vote with President Trump. So it's been pretty cool.
I would say that the RNC has done a phenomenal job courting the youth vote. I mean, you've got TPUSA, which is working diligently on college campuses. But when you look at, for example, the battle of TikTok, which a lot of folks thought that Kamala Harris had it wrapped up, especially with the stupid coconut dances and everything. But Donald Trump jumped in there. He got, the live streamers. He was on with Theo Vaughn. He was on with Aiden. They were handing out Tesla Cybertrucks at Mar-a-Lago. And now it seems like Donald Trump really is surprised, even though he's like almost 20 years older than Kamala, the more youthful, the more energetic, the cooler candidate.
You're spot on, Mark. I don't know if I've told you the TikTok story yet or not, but about this time last year, I was with President Trump, and I had pitched this idea to the RNC about having Trump join TikTok.
Yeah.
And they were like, oh, you're going to have to pitch that to him directly. We don't really want to be the one. Like, if it goes south, we don't want to be the ones associated. And I was like, you know what? I'll be happy to. And so they set up a meeting, and I got to meet with him backstage before rally. He came to Montgomery for a fundraiser. He's about to walk on stage, and they fit me back there to talk to him. They pull the curtain back. He's waving his hands in the air. He goes, Brylan, what can we do to win the youth vote? And I said, Mr. President, it's simple. You've got to reach out to youth voters through social media. That's where we are. Find us where we are. And he goes, oh, no. My team tells me I do social media too much. And you're telling me to get on social media more? I said, sir, there's a difference between True Social and Instagram and TikTok. There's not a single Gen Z voter on True Social. You're talking to an echo chamber on True Social. You have 100 million followers on Instagram and you haven't even activated your account since you left office.
Yeah.
Post your TV ads on your Instagram and it gets 100 million more people. Okay, I like that idea. And I said, sir, I got one more idea for you. I know you're not going to like this, but hear me out. TikTok. And immediately, oh, it's a security threat. We can't do TikTok.
China,
I said,
yeah.
Sir, exactly. Yeah. I said, sir, listen, if TikTok gets banned by the U.S. Congress, so be it. It's gone. But right now, while hundreds of millions of Americans are using this platform every day and Gen Z are scrolling through the app, us boycotting it is doing nothing but hurting ourselves.
Yeah.
Kamala Harris and Joe Biden are on the platform. You need to be on the platform. I promise you, sir. And he loves big numbers. I said, I promise you, your numbers will be through the roof, being there if you get on the platform. 2 weeks after that conversation, Donald Trump got on TikTok. He has the fastest growing account in the platform's history because he's real. He's authentic, Mark. He's not posting these scripted videos. He's reading off a teleprompter. Go out and vote. Pause.
Yeah.
Like he's just having a genuine conversation with Gen Z, and it's working.
Well, he's got Logan Paul up there, and he's got he does it right. He does TikTok right. I'll be honest with you. I'm now on my 4th TikTok account. I was one of the early adopters of TikTok for the conservative movement, and they kept throwing me off. I would wake up, everything would be gone. But ever since Donald Trump joined TikTok, I've noticed that my conservative TikTok account has not only been stabilized, but there's really a thriving conservative audience on the platform, and my growth has just been exponential. So I guess I should probably thank you for that as well.
I see you on my For You page all the time, so you're doing good.
Fantastic, that's great. Yeah. That's as long as I'm coming up
on the target audience. I'm a young voter, so
as long as I'm on the FYP, that's great. Now you are 18. Have you voted yet? By the way.
I've not. We don't do early voting in Alabama. I wish I could have, but we vote on election day still. We're a little archaic.
No, that's the way it should. I mean, hopefully that's the way it will be again. But yeah, so that's great. So Alabama's going to be voting on election day. Do you see that there are a lot? I mean, I know you do because you're around these people. Do you see the enthusiasm for this particular election more so than any other election? And is it an enthusiasm for the election, or is it enthusiasm for Donald Trump in the minds of the youth voters?
I think it's a mix of both. I think the first part is enthusiasm just with how high the stakes are.
Yeah.
My generation understands that the future of this election decides the future of America that we grow up in, and most importantly, raise families in one day. Another thing, though, that I think has really energized some people is what we just went through. We're the generation that survived COVID. We're the generation that got kicked out of school by big government and saw a taste of tyranny when they locked us out of school for a year and a half, forced us to wear that diaper on our face, and told us we were evil, horrible people, Mark, if we tried to go visit Granny for Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving dinner. We've seen big government at its worst. We've seen tyranny at its worst. And we're seeing a little hint of that come back with Kamala Harris's campaign. We do not want that back. Regardless of if you love Donald Trump's personality, we like his policies and we want that back. I think a lot of people are looking at this election through that lens. Now, the second aspect is Donald Trump and how much he's energized the youth vote, how much he's shown us, hey, look, this can be fun. This can be lighthearted. We can go, make French fries at McDonald's and still get out the vote. That type of stuff is winning Gen Z and youth vote. They did a poll the other day with Newsweek that asked youth voters what they thought about Donald Trump's, McDonald's stop. 79% of people ages 18 through 24 said they loved it. Well, Donald Trump's not going to get 79% of the youth vote. He's going to get 51 to 53%. Well, 79% said they loved it. Stuff like that is real. It's relatable. We grew up in the days of Bush and Obama. We're not used to real and relatable. Having stuff like this come out is so organic and so cool, and we need more of it.
Brylan Hollyhand, who's an author and the RNC Youth Advisory Chair. And let me ask you this, because one of the big issues that the Democrats, it's their only issue, is abortion. And they've been playing the abortion card really, they've been playing it pretty hard, and they've been pushing it on younger females especially, and saying, the Democrats and Donald Trump are banning your right to women's health. Is that something that you see has been a big roadblock with the youth vote, and especially the female youth vote? Because I think that's the big issue, that they're not pushing the economy, they're not pushing immigration or safety. It seems to be all about abortion.
I think it's the big issue that party leadership is attempting to push on their side, but it's not the issue that's actually resonating with everyday young people.
Oh, really? What is?
Everyday college students. I'm in the middle of a college campus speaking to our Turning Point. We're doing 8 campuses in the month leading up to the election.
Yeah.
We've got 3 more next week. And every single campus stop I go to, the first thing I hear from people is, I cannot afford to buy my first home. I cannot afford to start a family out of college because of how difficult it is to live under the Harris economy. Not a single person has brought up abortion. Now, on the topic of that, I do think Republicans of the past have messaged our winning message wrong. I'm pro-life and proud of it. Republicans need to be pro-life and proud of it. We don't need to cower on our stance or, go run away in the corner off a debate stage when it gets brought up. We need to explain our policies. Instead of just saying abortion is murder, we need to say abortion is murder and explain the science behind it, not just use the hashtag and run out the other door. We are pro-life, we're pro-family, we're pro-woman, we're pro-freedom. We need to be explaining that as Republicans, not just saying our stance and running the opposite direction. Gen Z wants to have conversations. Gen Z wasn't educated about this. Again, remind you, we were kept out of school for a year and a half, and we've just seen about abortion through TikToks and Kamala Harris videos.
Yeah.
This is not really something that I think is a losing issue for us. We just have to rebrand the way we talk about it.
That's fantastic. That's a great way to put it too. And I do see the economy for a lot of young people, especially those young people that are coming out of college. I do see that as the number one issue, because the idea of home ownership is going farther and farther out of grasp. All right, real quick before we let you go, as far as icons of the party and the future of the party, it seems to me that Republicans, for example, have really looked toward building that solid bench, where the Democrats, they really don't have any. We've got J.D. Vance, who just turned 40, so we'll call him young. We've got Vivek Ramaswamy, Tulsi Gabbard, she's around there. She really resonates with the younger people. You've got, Elon Musk who doesn't love Elon Musk? Is that another thing that you feel the Republicans and Donald Trump especially have been conscious of, is grabbing these cultural icons and making sure that they are kind of beacons of hope for the party of the future?
It most definitely is. We don't need pop stars on our side with their cats to help win over voters.
Well, we're not going to get them, so that's good. Yeah.
Full bench of happy warriors. We have these incredible army of people that, actually know what they're talking about, know what policies are, and they don't just sing for a living. They've been in Congress. They've either been on the Democrat side and we've won them over, or they've been Republicans their whole life. I'm super excited for 2028. And a lot of people go, oh, there's going to be so much drama. No. I'm excited how deep of a bench we're going to have with potential nominees. That's so exciting. We have a future on our side. And the Democrats' best option is Tim Walz. That's the best they could do. I think we're going to be in good shape.
That's a horrible. Yeah, I can't believe you said Tim Walz. It's Tampon Tim, by the way, if for future reference. Listen, Brylan Hollyhand, author of One Generation Away, Why Now is the Time to Restore American Freedom. You can get that, I guess, on Amazon. Also, you have a website, right? BrylanHollyhand.com.
Yes, sir. BrylanHollyhand.com.
Go check. Hey, thanks for all your hard work. I know you've been running around the country. I know you've been talking to everybody you can possibly talk to. Like you said, we're just a few days away. And you go vote on Election Day. Everyone else go vote early if you can, because that's how we're going to win. Brylan, what's next for you after the election? Are you going back to college? Are you going to run for office or something? What are you going to do?
So I'm a senior in high school. I'll finish up my senior year, and then I've got to pick a college. So that'll be coming up. I think the deadline's like 2 weeks after the election, so I'll have some thinking to do after election day.
Yeah, well, not a lot of time. Good luck, man. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you. I appreciate you, Mark. Have a good one.
Brylan Hollyhan, very cool kid, and the future of the party. Listen, I've noticed, by the way, I've been watching in the corner of my eye. I know everybody's sending me birthday wishes and super chats, and I'm getting rumble rants. I got this from Faith B904. She writes, "Happy birthday, Mark," and she sent a lovely array of emojis along with a $5 super chat. Faith B, thank you so much. I appreciate it. My birthday technically is not today. My birthday is tomorrow, and I will be live tomorrow because we got this whole Joe Rogan podcast coming out later today, and we've got to break it all down for you. Plus, we only have 11 days left, and we're not going to waste a single minute. We're not Kamala Harris. We're not taking days off. We are charging through. We're going to work every single day. We're going to continue to post on YouTube. We're going to continue to post up on Rumble. We're going to be everywhere you are. Follow me on all these platforms because, like I said, we've got a lot of work still to do. We've got to make sure that we are driving this one home. We've got to finish strong. We've got to finish hard. We've got to finish fast, and we've got to finish in first place. Teresa also sent a $5 super chat with happy birthday, Mark. 5-0. Which is very nice. Thank you very much. I had 2 exclamation points, too. I appreciate that. Was very nice of you. Thank you so much. Christiane Haggerty, one of our favorite Patriots who we hung out with in Wisconsin. Wait, no, I'm sorry, not Wisconsin. In Pennsylvania, rather, when I went up for the debate. Christiane sent a $10 super chat. Happy birthday, Mark. Christiane Haggerty, thank you so much. Thanks for being a loyal Patriot and a fantastic conservative voice for America. Jennifer Lawson with a $20 super chat. Happy birthday, Jennifer Lawson. Thank you. Super chats are great because I'm not going to return them. That's, if you're looking for a gift, super chats, rumble rants, those are all great things because I'm not going to return them. And they always fit. They always fit perfectly. And they match my eyes, which is fantastic. So thank you so much for that. And of course, Mindy Goy, $5 super chat from Mindy Goy. Thank you so much, Mindy. Happy early birthday. Mindy knows it's early with a little birthday cake. That is very sweet. Like I said, we do have some rumble rants. And because we do not have yet the technological capability to share the rumble rants on the screen, I will read them off from PETA T, a $20 rumble rant. Happy birthday, Mark. PETA T. Thank you so much, PETA T. Vegas Jax 13. Cool name. Vegas Jax 13, a $20 rumble rant that says, happy birthday, Mark. No explanation point, though, on Vegas Jax. Just like it's a statement. Like it's Dwight from The Office. Happy birthday, Mark. I appreciate that. Genlar 3 with a $50. Wow. That's $1 for each year I've been alive. $50 rumble rant from Genlar 3. Happy birthday, Mark. Your MAGA gnome needs a little red football to kick around. Thanks for keeping me informed and entertained. My MAGA gnome, by the way, has become more popular than I am. Everyone's always like, where can I get one of those? How do I get a MAGA gnome? And this was a gift. I'll be honest with you. This was a gift from Patrick Martin. And again, I always say I should call him and see if he minds me giving out his number because he gave me his phone number, but I don't know if it's like I don't want to just blow up his cell phone. I'll text him. I'll text him after the show, I promise, today. And we'll get that out there. Nancy Roskowski 25 sent me a $25 rumble rant. Nancy, that is so generous of you. And she wrote, happy birthday, Mark, with 2 champagne glasses. She gets me. Nancy knows me. We'll be having some champagne here, and we'll post the podcast, and then we'll move on. Happy birthday, Mark. American flag. Enjoyed your interviews at Mar-a-Lago. That's from Carla K. Clennon, along with a $10 rumble rant. Carla, that is very sweet. I enjoyed those interviews too. Like I said, if you missed them, don't worry. You can go back and watch it yesterday. We're going to post some of them up as well too. But it's very exciting. My News 61, a $10 rumble rant with a message simply, happy birthday. That is very sweet. You guys are, look, they're coming in fast and furious now. Alex Mans, $2 super chat. Happy birthday. Thank you again. Officially, my birthday is tomorrow. And for those of you that have been watching the show, for those of you that have been playing along for a long time, for those of you who've been here for the long haul, you know that not only is my birthday tomorrow, but I share my birthday with a couple of people. One of them is Pat Sajak, former host of Wheel of Fortune before he turned over the reins to Ryan Seacrest. One of them is, what's that guy's name? The guy that did the Family Guy. You know, I always forget his name. Anyway, very funny guys, very funny people, entertaining. And then the third famous person that I share my birthday with is Hillary Clinton.
One other thing that you'll see next week, Caitlin, is Trump actually reenacting the Madison Square Garden rally in 1939. I write about this in my book. President Franklin Roosevelt was appalled that neo-Nazis, fascists in America were lining up to essentially pledge their support for the kind of government that they were seeing in Germany. So I don't think we can ignore it.
So just know that tomorrow when I'm celebrating for everything good in the world, there's something evil. There's the yin and then there's the yang. So it only makes sense that on October 26th, you can celebrate the birth of Chief Patriot Mark Kaye and also Hillary Clinton. We're bonded for life, the two of us, for that very one remark. But listen, thank you so much for everybody and all of your super chats and all of your Rumble rants and all of your kind wishes. And if you threw me some stars on Facebook, I appreciate all that too. And if you just said happy birthday, my heart is full with all of the blessings. Please go and early vote if you can today. If not, make plans to early vote as soon as you possibly can, because it's super important that we win this election. We have to win this election. We literally have no choice to win this election. Everyone already kind of feels good about us winning the election, but don't forget, we've still got to go out there and win the election. And that's why I urge you to keep listening to this content every day. Make sure that you're subscribed. Make sure that you're getting the Facebook posts and the YouTube videos. Make sure you're following me on Twitter and TikTok and everywhere else, because I'm in this. You're in this. We're in this to win this. We've got a country that we have got to protect. We've got Democrats that we've got to defeat. We've got the fake news media that we've got to overcome. We've got free speech, which we have to solidify. And most importantly, we have a republic that we need to save. And if we all stay focused, if we don't take any time off, if we stick together, if we spread the gospel of the United States of America, if we spread the good news of the Constitution, if we keep telling everybody that America's future is going to be bigger, better, brighter, bolder, stronger, happier, and greater than ever before, then we will. On November the 5th, no matter what happens with the polls, we will go to bed that night knowing that we did everything that we could and we fought as hard as we possibly could fight, and that we saved the republic